One of the most beloved action stars in Hollywood history can no longer speak the way he used to. Not because of a stroke, not because of Alzheimer's, but because of a condition that most people, including many doctors, have never fully understood. Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia, and his story is shining a light on a disease that quietly affects hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Today, I want to go beyond the headlines. I'm not here to report on Bruce Willis as a celebrity. I'm here to help you actually understand what is happening inside his brain. Because the more we understand this disease, the better we can protect ourselves, recognize it in someone we love, and support the people who are caregiving. Let's start with where things stand. Bruce Willis retired from acting in March 2022 after his family announced he had been diagnosed with aphasia, a condition affecting his ability to communicate. At the time, many people assumed it was temporary or related to a minor neurological event. Then, in February 2023, the family released a second statement. The aphasia was not the root cause. It was a symptom. The actual diagnosis was frontotemporal dementia, FTD. His wife, Emma Heming Willis, has since become one of the most vocal advocates for FTD awareness in the world. She's written a book. She's launched a research fund. She's done interview after interview explaining what daily life actually looks like. And what she describes is heartbreaking, but also deeply educational. She has said that Bruce is still physically healthy, still mobile, still present in his body, but his language is going. His ability to recognize faces is declining, and he has no awareness that any of this is happening to him, which, as I'll explain shortly, is actually a feature of the disease itself. So what exactly is FTD? Let me explain it from the ground up. Frontotemporal dementia is a group of brain disorders caused by the progressive degeneration of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain. Now, the frontal and temporal lobes are not the same areas affected by Alzheimer's, which is why FTD looks and feels so different. Your frontal lobe controls things like personality, behavior, decision-making, emotional regulation, and social judgment. Your temporal lobes control language, understanding speech, and facial recognition. When these areas begin to break down, what you see is not someone forgetting where they put their keys. What you see is a change in who a person is. They may become more withdrawn, less emotionally warm. They may lose their ability to find words mid-sentence. They may behave in ways that seem out of character, socially inappropriate, impulsive, or flat. And here's what makes it particularly devastating. It strikes people much younger than Alzheimer's. FTD is actually the most common form of dementia in people under the age of 60. The average age of onset is somewhere between 45 and 65. Bruce Willis was 67 when his family first made the announcement publicly, but neurologists believe the disease had likely been progressing silently for years before that. I want to spend a moment on this because it matters enormously for early recognition. Most people, when they hear dementia, think Alzheimer's. And that makes sense. Alzheimer's accounts for about 60 to 80% of all dementia cases. But the differences between Alzheimer's and FTD are significant. With Alzheimer's, the earliest and most prominent symptom is memory loss. Forgetting recent events, asking the same question repeatedly, getting disoriented. With FTD, memory is often relatively preserved in the early stages. What changes first is behavior, personality, and language. This is why FTD gets misdiagnosed so often. A person who shows up to a doctor and says, "I keep forgetting things," gets evaluated for Alzheimer's. But a person who shows up and says, "My husband has become emotionally cold and socially withdrawn," is more likely to be told it's depression, stress, or a midlife crisis. I cannot stress this enough. FTD is one of the most under-recognized and misdiagnosed neurological conditions in medicine. Studies suggest the average time from first symptoms to correct diagnosis is approximately 3.6 years. That is nearly 4 years of a patient and their family not knowing what they are dealing with. And in that time, the disease continues to progress. So why does it take so long to diagnose? First, as I mentioned, the symptoms look like other things. Depression, burnout, relationship problems, personality changes in a middle-aged person are easy to attribute to 100 different life factors. Second, standard dementia screening tools like the Mini Mental State Examination, the MMSE, are designed to catch memory problems. A person with FTD can score relatively normally on these tests in early stages because their memory is still intact. Third, FTD is simply less known. There is far less public awareness about it than Alzheimer's, which means patients and families aren't looking for it, and some physicians aren't thinking about it either. Emma Hemming Willis spoke about this in her own experience. She noticed that Bruce's speech and affect had changed, but because he had a childhood stutter, she initially attributed the changes to that. By the time it became undeniable, the disease had already been progressing for an unknown length of time. This is the window we want to close, because earlier recognition, even without a cure, allows for better planning, better support, and better quality of life. Let me give you the actual warning signs of FTD to watch for, in yourself or someone you love. There are two main presentations. The behavioral variant, which is the most common, shows up as a gradual change in personality or social behavior, loss of empathy or emotional warmth. The person seems cold or indifferent, impulsive or socially inappropriate behavior. Repetitive or compulsive actions, loss of motivation or initiative, decline in personal hygiene without awareness, poor judgment or decision-making, especially financial decisions. The language variant, called primary progressive aphasia, shows up as difficulty finding words or naming objects. Speaking in shorter, simpler sentences, trouble understanding what others say, eventually, near or complete loss of speech. Both variants can be present in the same person. Bruce Willis appears to have significant language involvement given the progression his family has described. Now, one of these symptoms alone is not a diagnosis. But if you're noticing a cluster of these, especially in someone under 65, please advocate strongly with their doctor to consider FTD. This is the part of the story that I find both the most scientifically fascinating and the most emotionally profound. Emma Hemming Willis has shared that Bruce has no awareness of his diagnosis. He doesn't know he's sick. A lot of people hear this and assume it's denial, that he knows something is wrong but is refusing to accept it. But that's not what's happening. What she's describing is a real neurological condition called anosognosia. Anosognosia, from the Greek meaning without knowledge of disease, is a condition where damage to the brain prevents a person from recognizing their own neurological impairment. It is not a coping mechanism. It is not stubbornness. It is a symptom of the brain damage itself. The frontal lobe, which is heavily damaged in FTD, is the same part of the brain responsible for self-monitoring and self-awareness. When that area degenerates, the brain literally loses the ability to observe its own decline. Emma described it this way, and I think it's beautifully said. That's the blessing and the curse of this disease. Bruce never connected the dots. I'm actually grateful he doesn't know. For caregivers, this creates a unique challenge. You cannot explain to the person what is happening. You cannot ask them to accommodate their own condition. You have to meet them entirely where they are. I want to talk about the caregiver experience for a moment, because FTD does not just happen to one person. It happens to an entire family. FTD caregiving is considered among the most emotionally demanding forms of caregiving that exists, even compared to Alzheimer's caregiving. Why? Because the person you love often changes in personality before they lose memory. You grieve the loss of who they were while they are still physically present. This is called ambiguous loss, and it is uniquely painful. Emma Hemming Willis has spoken about this grief openly. She talks about moments when she sees a flash of the old Bruce, his laugh, the twinkle in his eye, and then it disappears as quickly as it came. His daughter Rumor Willis said something I think every person who has a loved one with dementia will understand. Whether he recognizes me or not, when I give him a hug, he can feel the love. For those of you watching this who are in a caregiving situation right now, that sentiment is backed by neuroscience. Emotional memory and the capacity to feel safety and love can persist even when language and recognition fade. You are not invisible to them. The love still registers. I want to be honest with you here because I think people deserve honesty more than they deserve false hope. Currently, there is no disease-modifying treatment for frontotemporal dementia. There is no medication that slows or stops its progression. There is no cure. The Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration describes FTD as an inevitable decline in function with an average life expectancy of 7 to 13 years after the onset of symptoms. Treatment is focused on symptom management, behavioral therapies, speech therapy for the language variant, medications to manage mood or behavioral symptoms, and intensive caregiver support. Research, however, is accelerating. There are several active clinical trials looking at genetic FTD. Some cases are inherited and at potential neuroprotective interventions. Emma Hemming Willis's Fund, the Emma and Bruce Willis Fund, is specifically designed to support FTD research and caregiver resources. That kind of celebrity-driven awareness funding has historically accelerated timelines for medical breakthroughs. We do not have a cure today, but the research landscape 5 years from now may look very different. Let me close with this. Bruce Willis is one of the most recognizable men on the planet, a man whose voice and presence defined cinema for decades. And the disease that is taking those things away is one most people had never heard of before his diagnosis. That is the strange gift that public illness can give us, awareness. Before Michael J. Fox, most people didn't understand Parkinson's disease. Before Magic Johnson, many people didn't understand that HIV could affect anyone. And now, because of Bruce Willis's family choosing to speak openly, millions of people are learning about frontotemporal dementia for the first time. If you take nothing else from this video, take these 3 things. 1. FTD is not Alzheimer's. If someone you love is showing personality changes, language decline, or behavioral shifts, especially under 65, push for a full neurological evaluation. 2. Anosognosia is real. If a person doesn't think anything is wrong with them, that may not be denial. It may be the disease. 3. Caregivers need support too. If you are supporting someone with FTD, please seek out a support group, a therapist, or a community. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I'll link resources in the description below. Thank you for watching. And if this video helped you understand something you didn't before, please share it. Because somewhere out there, there's a family wondering what is happening to someone they love. And this might be exactly what they need to find.